Okay student, welcome back for the video Go Kiss the World. We are in the half of the story. Okay, so my mother began developing a cataract. Cataract means an eye disease. Okay, cataract in her eyes when I was very small. At that time the eldest of my brother got a teaching job in Bhubaneswar. So when the mother got a cataract in her eyes, during that time their eldest brother got a teaching job in Bhubaneswar. Okay, so it was decided that my mother will move to take care of him, and as her appendix I had to move too. Okay, so he is telling that my brother was staying all alone, so it was decided by the family that mother will go to Bhubaneswar and will take care of my brother. At the same time I was close to my mother, and all the time I was with her, so I have to accompany her. I had to move too. For the first time in my life I saw electricity in homes and water coming out from tap. It was around 1965 when the country was going to war with Pakistan. So he clearly remember when he reached Bhubaneswar, he could see the electricity for the first time, and he could see the tap running water, and it was the time of 1965. That time the country was going to prepare for the war against Pakistan. My mother was having problem reading, and in any case Bengali medium educated, she did not know the Oriya script. Okay, so mother already developed cataract in her eyes, so it was difficult for her to read the newspaper. At the same time, since she has migrated from West Bengal, she was not knowing the Oriya script. So in addition to my daily course, that means my daily work, my job was to read that local newspaper from beginning to end. It was my duty to read the newspaper from the beginning to end for my mother. That created in me a sense of concentration with a large world. When I started reading from top to bottom, beginning to end the newspaper, I was just connected to the large world through the newspaper. Okay, so while reading out the newspaper about war, I felt that it was fighting the war myself. Till date, I measure my success in terms of that sense of large considerations. So that time while he was reading about the war against Pakistan, so he was thinking as if he was also fighting the battle. While reading our newspaper about the war, I felt okay. So meanwhile the war raged and India was fighting for both fronts. Lal Bahadur Shastri, the then Prime Minister, termed the coin that Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, and that nation into the patriotic fever. I had no clue about how I could be a part of the action. Okay, so during that time, then Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri was there. He has given the slogan Jai Jawan and Jai Kisan. So he was so inspired by reading the newspaper that he was also thinking that he was a part of this war. So after reading the newspaper every day, I would land up near the local university water tank. That time Orissa used to have only one university, that is known as Utkal University. So he used to go there. There was a water tank. He used to go there and stand, which served the community. People used to come and collect water from there. I would spend hours under the imagining the three good spices who could come there to poison the water, and I had to watch for them. I would daydream about catching one of them, and the next day it would be featured in the newspaper. As a young child, he was very much imaginative. By reading the newspaper, his mind is full of imagination. So while he was standing and watching people fetching water, the community people, so he was thinking that three people are coming and poisoning the water, and he caught them one, and his name, he got fame, and his name was published in the newspaper. It is not real. That was as a child imagination. He was thinking all that. That act unlocked my imagination. Imagination is everything. If you can imagine a future, we can create it. If you can create the future, others will live in it. That's the essence of success. So when he was seeing all that thing, when he was imagining this thing, so whatever thing it was locked within him, it unlocked. So he was telling that if you imagine, you can crave for it, to do it. When you do it, you can do it for others so that other can enjoy it. Over the next few years, my mother's eyesight dimmed. That means the sight was becoming feeble or becoming weak. But in me, she created a larger vision with which I continue to see the world. Okay, but he was so close to his mother that mother could see the world in his eyes. As the next few years unfolded, her vision deteriorated. Again, slowly and slowly, her vision was deteriorating, means becoming feeble, becoming weak. And she was operated upon for the cataract. So, she was operated for the cataract. Her vision became clear after the operation. Suddenly, she could see. But within weeks of getting her sight back, she developed a corneal euclid and oversight become blind in both eyes. That was in 1969 and she died in 2002. So the operation was successful, but after weeks that again become completely blind. That time she could see partially, but she was completely blind, and she was blind. That operation was in 1969 and she died in 2002. And even though she had lived with the blindness for 22 years, she never complained about her fate even once. Though she lived a blind life, she never complained. Never. Generally, when we don't get anything or something, then we generally complain to God or complain to people or something. But the author is saying, Subrat Bakshi is saying that I have never heard my mother is complaining anything. She lived in that from 1969 to 2002. Curious to know what she saw with the blind eyes, I asked her once if she see the darkness. She replied, "No, I do not see darkness. I see only the light even with my closed eyes." So he was very much curious that if blind people, how they see the darkness. It all looks dark. So as a child he asked his mother out of curiosity, "Mom, do you see the darkness?" Then the mother said, "No, even if I close my eyes, I see the light." That means he said that in negative situation also, if you keep yourself positive, then you can succeed in life. Until she was 80 years of age, she did her morning yoga every day. She swept her own room and washed her own clothes. To me, success is about the sense of independence. It is about not seeing the darkness but seeing the light. Okay, so according to me, success is you should be independent. You should not depend upon anybody. And he learnt all this from his mother. Till she was 80, though she was blind, she was washing her own clothes, she was mopping the house, she was doing the yoga every day and all. So that was the success for her. So in darkness also you can see the light. Over many inverting years, I grew up, studied, joined the industry and began to carve my life's own journey. So after that he grown up, he became a young boy. Okay, he started going to college. I began my life as a clerk in a government office, went on become a management trainee and found myself calling the IT industry. That fourth generation computer came in the year 1981. Okay, so he has become the IT trainee. The one who came from Koraput without light and electricity. You see his journey about all this. Life took me places, worked with outstanding people, completed challenging assignment and traveled all over the world till in the 1992 while I was posted in US, I learned that my father, who was living a retired life with my elder brother, had suffered a third-degree burn injury and had been admitted in the hospital in Delhi. So in 1992, while he was in abroad, that means in foreign country, in US, he got a message that, or he got a news that his father was burnt third degree. That means completely burnt. And what is the reason is not mentioned. And he has to fly back to Delhi, and he was with his elder brother admitted in Delhi. I flew back to attend him. That means he came back from US to see his father. He remained for a few days in a critical stage. Bandage from neck to toes. Hospital was cockroach infested. Cockroach infested means how cockroaches come together and there is no rule and regulation. You can see at home like that only people have no rule regulation in that hospital. The hospital was cockroach infested, dirty, inhuman place. One morning while attending my father, I realized that the bottle of the empty featuring that it would go into vein. I asked the nurse to change it. She bluntly told me to do it myself. When I saw that my father was transfusing the blood, I saw the bottle was empty. So I thought the air will get into my father's body. So I approached the nurse who was taking care and very bluntly said, I cannot do it, you do it by yourself. In the horrible threat of death, I felt frustration and anger. Finally, when she returned and came, my father opened his eyes and murmured to her, Why have you not gone home yet? I was stunned with his stoic self. Then I learned that there is no limit to how concerned you can be for another human being. The nurse was not looking after my father, but my father, when opened the eyes, the first thing he said to the nurse that, why are you not going home and what are you doing here? My father died the next day. He was a man whose success was defined by his principles and his sense of inclusion. Above all, he taught me the success is your ability to rise above and your discomfort whenever you are in the current state. That means he is telling that from your discomfort zone, you should not grumble. You see that from negative to positive you can do by yourself. My father was a fervent believer of British Raj and he sincerely doubted the capability of the post-independence Indian political parties to the government, to the country. My father was very much fond of the British Raj and he was doubting that whether this Indian government can, that was his father's opinion, can manage to rule our country properly. My mother was just the opposite. When Subhash Chandra Bose was quit India National Congress, he came to Dhaka. My mother has garland as a school girl. My mother has garland. He was telling when Subhash Chandra Bose, because mother came from East Bengal, so she garlanded Subhash Chandra Bose, which was a great thing that time. She learned to spin khadi and joined the underground movement. That she used to know how to do the khadi and she joined the under. She also trained her using the daggers, and swords, how to use the sword and daggers in schools. Consequently, our household saw diversity because father's principle was different, mother's principle. So unity in diversity. In one house, you can see different minded people, but they are living together. One major issue is connecting the world. Old man and old lady have different differing opinion. In them, we learned the power of disagreement, of dialogue, and the sense of living with diversity and thinking. Though sometimes they argue in their opinion, but still they are living in the same house with the same unity. 2 years ago, at the age of 82, my mother had a paralytic stroke and was in a government hospital in Bhubaneswar. I flew down from US to visit her. I spent 2 weeks with her in the hospital. She was neither getting better nor moving on. That means either she was dying or feeling better. Eventually, I had to return to work as I was leaving. I kissed because he has to go back to work. He cannot live so long. So I kissed her face in that paralytic state. In a garbled voice, he said, "Why are you kissing me? Go kiss the world." So the mother was having paralytic attack. So while he was leaving for his work, leaving his mother who was not improving in health wise, so the mother said, "Why are you kissing me? Go kiss the world." This woman who came to India as a refugee, was no more educated than high school, was married to an Anonymous means the one who is unknown. Government servant whose last salary was only 300 rupees rubbed her eyesight and fate was telling me to go and kiss the world. When he was kissing his mother, the mother said, "Why are you kissing me? Go and kiss the world." That means go and do the duty so that the others can be benefited. Success to me about vision. So according to the author, success to me about vision, how you can see. It is the ability to rise above pain. It is about imagination. It is about sensitivity to small people. It is about the consideration of large world. It is about giving back more to life than you ask to. That means you give more, receive less. It is about creating the extraordinary success with ordinary lives. Thank you very much. I wish good luck and good speed. That's it. Okay, so you understood the story. Go and kiss the world.